Brendan Dassey trial transcript, day 5, continuation on page 19. Again, myself and Agent Fossbender conducted the interview. Brendan's mother had presented herself at the Sheriff's Department sometime later during the interview. All right, I believe we're ready to discussion off the record. Attorney Fallon, that's probably a good idea. Tell us about the specific location where the interview took place. Sure, the interview that we conducted on March 1 was done again at the Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department, which I don't know if you guys had a chance to be outside, but right outside the next building over. That interview was conducted in the detectives portion of the Sheriff's Department, which is, I believe, second floor of the Sheriff's Department there. It's conducted in what we call a soft room. It's like a small living room, if you will. It's got a small couch, 2 small soft chairs. It's got lamps for lighting. It's not like you see on TV. Again, you know, CSI, stuff like that, where it's this brick wall room and this hard table and you got the light shining on them and things like that. It's a very comfortable room, and that's where he was interviewed. All right, Attorney Fallon, I believe we're ready. The court, is this going to be a closed caption video? Attorney Fallon, yes. The court, I'm going to read the instruction then. Attorney Fallon, yeah, I think that would be good. The court, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, closed caption transcripts have been added to this videotape. If you, the jury, believe in watching the video concurrently while reading the closed caption words that there's a variation between videotape and the closed caption, you are to rely solely on the videotape. So do you want the reporter to take this? I mean, there's a transcript of this as well. Attorney Fallon, we can provide a transcript if necessary. We will be introducing a DVD as the actual evidence, consistent, of course, with the law and the instruction you just read. The court, all right, I'll ask the defense, do you have any objection if the reporter does not take this? Understanding that the trustworthiness of it is secured by a number of different things, a transcript, a CD. Attorney Edelstein, certainly as to the CD. The court, all right. Attorney Edelstein, no, there's no objection if the reporter doesn't take it. The court, okay, all right. Attorney Fallon, if there's no objection, could Investigator Wiegert resume a seat back here during the playing? The court, do you have any objection? Attorney Fallon, we will stop the tape at one point and recall him to explain a few things that are occurring, but other than that, it will be about 2 hours and 20 minutes or so. I guess we'll have Investigator maintain his current position just for facilitating the ease of talking about a few of the points that we will stop the tape at. The court, all right. Wherein DVD is played, wherein DVD is stopped. Attorney Fallon, Your Honor, I think we'll take our morning break at this time. The closed caption did not pan out for us this time around, and secondly, we stopped the tape at approximately 12:08. The court, all right, the record will reflect that. We'll recess until 10:35. Recess had at 10:17 a.m., reconvened at 10:38 a.m. The court, Mr. Fallon, you may proceed. Attorney Fallon, thank you, Judge. I believe we have it queued up to the appropriate spot and we'll continue at this point. Apparently the program does not have a particular pause button, so it does have to be repeated. The court, okay. Wherein playing of DVD continues, wherein DVD is stopped. Attorney Fallon, Your Honor, we've spoken with counsel and we're going to speed up through this break. The court, all right. Wherein playing of DVD continues, wherein playing of DVD stopped. Attorney Fallon, I think this would be a good time to take the break. The court, I think you're right. We will recess for the lunch hour. We'll be back here at 1:05. I'll remind the jury no talking about this or anything related to the case. Recess had at 11:59 a.m., reconvened at 1:32 p.m. The court, Mr. Fallon, are you set to proceed? Attorney Fallon, we are. The court, you may do so. Wherein playing of DVD is continued, wherein playing of DVD is stopped. Attorney Fallon, Your Honor, I believe we've agreed that the remainder of the discussion does not contain pertinent questioning of the defendant, and I think we agreed to stop the tape at this particular point. The court, and to the defense, is that true? Attorney Edelstein, it is, Your Honor. The court, all right. By Attorney Fallon. Investigator Wiegert, I have a few questions for you. I think I'll take these more or less in reverse order from what we've just seen. If you would, please tell us why, first of all, from your investigative efforts, did Teresa Halbach have a tattoo on her stomach? No, we knew she didn't have a tattoo. And why was that question put to the defendant? It's one of those things I kind of explained to you guys before we started the interview. We do say things that are intentionally false. As you noticed, Brendan said no, he didn't see a tattoo. So he answered that appropriately. So we give him false things to see if he'll just go along with it, and clearly he doesn't. Your colleague Investigator Fossbender also asked certain anatomical questions related to Teresa Halbach's physical appearance and physical attributes. What is the purpose of those questions? When Brendan told us that he sexually assaulted her, that's the first time we knew that happened, okay? And when you do interviews in reference to sexual assaults, one of the things that you ask the suspect is certain questions about the body. It's to see if they can recollect what they've seen, to see if, again, to see if they can just go along with it, see if they make things up. And again, in that case, I believe he answered those questions appropriately. The color of the hair, everything. All right. Are those questions also asked to test whether or not he actually saw what he said he saw? Yes. All right. Again, there was a lengthy break that we sped through. My estimate was there was a break of almost about 28, 29 minutes from 12:29 to 12:57. Could you tell us what was going on at that time? Yes, actually, we had made a phone call to the prosecutor, Mr. Kratz. Mr. Kratz and there were some other investigators who were starting to prepare a search warrant based on some new information. If you heard me pick up the phone during that interview and I said, do not sign, do not sign, do not serve, I don't remember if you remember that, hearing that. I was stopping them from the process of doing that search warrant because we had learned new information by that time and we wanted to include that information in the search warrant. So during that break, we were talking, to the district attorney about getting the proper information in that search warrant. All right, and is this the interview that contributed information leading to the search warrant, which was executed at Stephen Avery's trailer and garage on March 1 and 2 that we've heard earlier about in this trial? It is. This is after this information was provided to us, when we gained that search warrant and signed by a judge, we went back and executed that search warrant on the 1st of March after this and continued that into the 2nd of March. That's when we recovered the 2 bullets based on Brendan's information that she was shot in the garage, which is one of the bullets that contained the DNA of Teresa Halbach. All right. Now, we also noted that there were some drawings that you requested that the defendant prepared. Yes. Did you bring those with you today? Yes. I'd like to ask you some questions about those drawings. First one. First one, I believe, is Exhibit 207. That's correct. And what is depicted in Exhibit 207? Exhibit 207 is the picture of the knife that Brendan drew for us. All right, and are there any writings or other markings other than the depiction itself? Yes, Brendan signed it, he dated it, and he put the time on there. All right, and the next exhibit? 209. Yes, what is depicted in Exhibit 209? This one depicts the garage. Brendan drew out the garage, and he had the snowmobile in the garage. He's got the vehicle in the garage. He's got the lawnmower labeled. He also put in where they laid Teresa and where he and Stephen are both standing. Again, he signed this one, dated it, and put the time on it. All right, Exhibit 210? Yes. What is depicted in Exhibit 210? This is a drawing he did of the burn pit area. Included in this drawing is he's got the garage. He correctly drew out where the burn pit was. He put the doghouse in. He even drew her body laying in that depression, if you will, where we found her bones. And again, he signed this one, he dated it, and he put the time on it. All right, and the last one, 208? Yes, this one is a rendering of the Steve Avery's bedroom. Again, in this one, he's got the bed drawn in. He's got the dresser. He's got the nightstand. He's got the closet. He put on the wall the gun rack, and he also drew Teresa's body on the bed. All right, I'm going to ask that your colleague, Mr. Fossbender, take those exhibits and bring those to the Elmo for publication. Attorney Fallon. It would begin with 207, the reverse order that you have them, 207 first, by Attorney Fallon. Now again, 207, this is the knife that he drew that we just saw on the videotaped interview. It is. It's the one he said that they used to cut her throat and stab her. All right. Attorney Fallon. 209, Mr. Fossbender, please. All right. You might have to zoom out a little on that. All right. By Attorney Fallon. And 209, this is the depiction of the garage. It is. And if I could elaborate a little bit about that one. Yeah, I have a few questions, if I may. Okay. There seems to be depicted in there a stick person. What is represented by that depiction? That's where Brendan stated when they took her out of the back of the RAV4, where they placed her on the ground, and that's where they shot her. The thing about that one is he places her, if you compare this drawing to things you might have seen earlier in the trial, where we believed that there was a luminol stain, or the luminol showed a stain which we believed to be bleach, which he later said he had cleaned up in the garage, is exactly where that luminol lit up. All right, and I see initials. there's two X's with initials. One is BRD. What is that supposed to represent? I had Brendan label where he was standing, and I had him label where Steve was standing when he shot her. All right. And is that the X, which is depicted below the lettering BRD? That is correct, yes. And that's supposed to be SA. Is that what it is? What that is? Yes. All right. And there is a little box above three circles. There's three circles between the stick person depiction, and then there's a box above that. What is that? That's where, if you remember in the pictures, there was I believe it's a John Deere lawnmower sitting. All right. And what were the three circles that are supposedly depicted between the stick person and the lawnmower? I believe that's where he's drawing the blood. All right, and just so that we're clear, is that his handwriting which appears on the right hand of the screen? It is. All right, next, we are now publishing 210. I believe you indicated this was the burn pit? Correct. If you see, he actually drew the mound in, and if you remember the actual pictures, there's a gravel and dirt mound built up there, and I believe that's what he was drawing there. I'm going to have my colleague, Mr. Gahn, hand you a laser pointer. Sure. And as I recall your testimony from a few moments ago, there is a doghouse that was drawn in. Right, he's got the doghouse drawn in right here, and here's that mound I was talking about. If you remember back on the pictures, that was a gravel and dirt mound. Right, and here was that dugout impression. All right, and what is depicted in that depression? He drew in where they put Teresa, and that's exactly where the bones were found. It was within this area, here. All right. Attorney Fallon. Next one, Mr. Fossbender. Exhibit 208, I believe it is. If you'd zoom out just a bit, all right? Attorney Fallon. What is depicted in Exhibit 208? That would be Steve Avery's bedroom, which he drew for us. All right, and there are a number of items. Specifically, there is a bed, which is depicted there. Yeah, he drew the bed in right there. And what is represented or depicted in the drawing on the bed? He actually drew Teresa in on the bed, and you can see the chains or handcuffs that are attached to her legs and her arms. All right. Now, what was significant about the layout of the bedroom vis-a-vis the investigative beliefs initially when this case broke, and subsequently, what did you learn about it? Well, when we served the search warrants on the trailer, we found the bed right here, okay? The gun rack is on the wall. There's actually pictures. If you remember that, you see the gun rack, and the bed was here. The door is actually here to the bedroom. When we interviewed Brendan, he had stated that you could see Teresa from looking down that hallway. And we initially thought, well, how can that be? Because if the bed is here, there's no way you could see Teresa on that bed from looking down the hallway, when he says he just walks in the house and he looks down there. Let me stop you right there. When you executed the search warrant on November 5, are you telling us the bed was under the gun rack? Yes. All right, continue. The bed was under this gun rack when we executed the search warrant. So when Brendan tells us that the bed is over here, or actually when Brendan told us he could see her, so we ask him, well, draw the bed in. So he draws it in here without any prompting or telling him where anything was in that room. When we eventually talked to Steve Avery's girlfriend, fiance as she put it yesterday, she also puts the bed here. So now, well, obviously when you walk in that door to that trailer and you look down that hallway in this doorway, he's right. You could see it. All right. Now, there's been some testimony of assistance rendered to the investigation by the state trooper by the name of Timothy Austin. I think there was a stipulation regarding some of his animation, and I believe Dr. Eisenberg testified that he assisted her as a result of the information provided by Jody Stachowski and the defendant, Brendan Dassey. Did you ask him to do anything? Yes, we asked Trooper Austin to see if that was feasibly possible, if that bed would fit in that area, so he did that. All right, I'm going to show you a photograph. I'm having my colleague show you what has been marked for identification as Exhibit 211. Yes, do you recognize that? I do. What is Exhibit 211? 211 is a rendering based off of information that we learned in this case of how a bedroom was the day that we believed that Teresa was in there. All right, yes, I'm going to have my colleague hand that for publication. All right, Exhibit 211 is depicted, and tell us about that. Illustrate, first of all, where the doorway to the room is. Sure, the door is right here, and here's that exit door to go outside, the one that Brendan talked about, and the cement steps was right there by the bedroom. The garage would be basically right over here, and this is the bed drawn in here, the little desk. I think it's like a two-file, two-drawer cabinet.